started. So, ladies and gentlemen, we have Kim Green, Durham Tech, Kim Green, CCNA, CYSA Plus, and MCSA, is an IT professional passionate about community, building, networking, and security. She has degrees in network administration and support and information system security, and has presented at local ISSA and OWASP chapters. So thank you very much. And I'll go ahead and give it to you to take it away.
Now, close your eyes. Picture in your mind when you walked into the office. Said hi to the guard, grabbed your coffee, and sat down at your desk to work. We took it for granted, didn't we? Now open your eyes. Telework Explosion 2020.
Tranquility is a moment of calm. It does not mean everything is perfect. We knew what to expect. Things were orderly. Effective work led to success.
This moment of calm was but a prelude to a storm. Events such as the pandemic, natural disasters such as wildfires, floods, tornadoes, hurricanes, storms, and even civil unrest, they all require businesses to react to survive. The current pandemic has shredded the working environment.
There was a telework explosion. It accelerated the shift to telework for professions that allowed teleworking. It forced a shift to telework for professions that had not previously used teleworking. And there are, unfortunately, many businesses who are not able to telework. Environmental change led to business change, led to increased teleworking. Disasters and hazards created chaos. No steps led to effective work. There was no scope of need. There was no working model. There was fear. Previously existing policies did not scale, causing management gaps. Unscaled existing policies only partially mitigated the chaos. This is reactive, a crisis mode. Halting steps leads to ineffective work. There's a lack of developed business policies, a lack of clear policy guidance. So burdens shift from the company to unprepared individual employees. There was uncertainty. Employees suffer in this unclear environment. Does my house have space to set up my workplace? Do I have a computer and internet? Is my internet connection secure? What do I do if my computer breaks? Uncertain steps lead to inefficient work.
The lack of normal office resources was also compounded with shared home resources and shifting schedules. As the scale of the work shift became apparent, there was doubt. Employees doubted they could cope without guidance. Companies, they doubted they can provide the necessary guidance. Now the Industrial Revolution, the age of electricity, the dawn of computing, and the rise of internet, they all had longer periods of adjustment. Not now. There is fear, uncertainty, and doubt. There's a need for adaptation of the business model.
Light into darkness is transparency of process. Order out of chaos. Stop reacting. Be proactive. Acknowledge that your job now requires you to take unexpected, perhaps unforeseen action. Rise above the fear, the uncertainty, the doubt. Return to the basics: policies, standards, procedures.
Policies are a clear statement of your company's strategic intentions. Policies set the vision and influence those decisions. If your business premise does not change, then the overall policy does not change. However, today we have issues such as health and safety, code of conduct, acceptable equipment use, workplace security, accountability, and other things such as interaction with our customers and our clients. Then there's the human issues such as legal compliance, equal opportunity, non-discrimination, personal leave, finally, compensation, benefits, disciplinary actions. All of these must be considered. How does your policy get here? Identify the need for a policy, determine the content needed for the policy, communicate the policy to your employees, update and revise the policy as necessary. This is the time to update and revise these policies based on the reasons that you have it and the changes and circumstances that you now face. Policy example we could give would be like, you must maintain malware-free computer systems.
The Oxford Dictionary defines standards as a level of quality or attainment. A standard provides rules, guidelines, and characteristics for activities and their results. They specify terms and vocabulary and performance of products and personnel. A standard is a technical measure of how to make a product safe, efficient, and compatible with others. You'll recognize FSMA, HIPAA, PCI, GDPR. So our example policy of a malware-free environment is now a series of standards. Inventory, configuration management, data security controls, data privacy controls, patching and updates, encryption, backups, incident response, and physical security. A procedure is a sequence of activities required to implement a specific task or function set by the company standards. Procedures are for employees are to read, understand, and follow these specific steps. So our example policy of a malware-free computing environment became a series of standards. One of those standards was data security controls. So that standard for data security controls is now a series of procedures: user identification, authentication, and authorization, account creation and administration, information security classification, involving the identification of different data classification levels, criteria for the data to be assigned to that particular level, and controls to govern the access to each level of sensitive information. Evolve, create order. We are going to have increased telework for a long time. This is the new normal. Some companies are already saying they will remain shifted to fully telework, remote work. Facebook, Google, Microsoft. So this pivot to telework is far more than just technology. It is recognizing that employees are more than work assignments. Empathizing, and you know that employees are not productive when they're stressed, sick, or overly distracted. You need to enable people to stay connected, both through official work channels and unofficial social channels. And you are going to need to modify productivity goals. Providing equipment to employees need, including fast internet connectivity, and providing specific guidance through updated policies, standards, and procedures. IT departments are only just now getting people teleworking to be truly productive. Over time, the challenge of working remotely will be overcome with corporate IT and employees continuing to improve privacy and security.
Your on-premises or office building now requires maintenance and monitoring, all of which is mostly remote. Some devices providing customer services may be too large or just fixed to that place, such as medical equipment, large infrastructure for different types of manufacturing. This requires employees to return to office in a limited capacity for using test, troubleshooting, and problem modeling. This can include CTRs, for example, MRIs, laboratory equipment, power plants, auto repair, especially trucks, and manufacturing or fabrication plants. All of these may be too large. Secure methods need to be used by you to support the infrastructure, data, and security. Confirm settings on your devices that can be configured for secure remote access. You may need to schedule in-person time to reconfigure this access and make assurance. You may need to schedule in-person time for maintenance and monitoring. If your devices do not have the capability for secure remote access, you should consider upgrading or replacing of that equipment which does not meet your new requirements.
Prior to the pandemic, there was a trend to be smaller, more efficient, to do more with less. This was reflected in space use. Many businesses consolidated into less space. During lockdown, there was no, or extremely little, office use space. As the pandemic recovery proceeds, precautions must be taken to ensure employee safety. These precautions include physical distance separation, social distancing, your mask wearing. Physical space cannot be readily and immediately scaled to a change in need. There is lag time. There may not be rental space available adjacent to your current space to flex into during social distancing. And if there is adjacent office space, it may need modification to suit your business needs, causing additional delay before you are fully able to satisfy those distancing requirements. Cloud space has the unique advantage of being much more readily scalable, but there may still be some lag time if contracts or settings, particularly security controls, need adjustment. A teleworker needs an office to work at home to work effectively. The company needs to address any gap in necessary equipment by purchasing or directly providing additional equipment as they require. This probably requires an increase in budget. It may range from a laptop or tablet. Using their smartphone may need a hotspot, helping find the quiet room or table. It normally includes high-speed internet, which may be cable or fiber, may include your router, switches, cabling, usually includes power backup, an external monitor, data storage. You may need authentication devices for multi-factor authentication. You may even require a fax machine. And you have to consider sundry office supplies that you can no longer run down the hall to get, paper and pens. You should check with your IT department prior to starting teleworking. They should have protocols in place to assist you with securing your environment and data access for transfer and storage. If you are working from home, whether it's on your home or company provided equipment, ensure that your home router is properly secured.
As an employee, do not leave security awareness at the front door of your home. Confirm and work within your company's guidelines. Clearly define the workspace, even if you're at a time sharing or you're using it before or after someone else. Your work area should not have a casual family atmosphere. Be safe. As an employer, ensure that you coordinate collaboration between IT, security, legal, and compliance team. Communicate. Do not let any assumptions sit in silence. Trusted communications. Don't mix the trusted with the untrusted. Separate personal use from business use. Think before you click the link. Confirm that your URL website points to the correct corporate resources. That is not a phishing link. This means also securing your browser settings, such as cookies, pop-ups, the certificate replication list, blacklisted websites, and that you're only using a single browser per application. Separate your personal social media use also to non-work periods. Personal, not professional uses of Facebook, TikTok, etc. should be avoided. Use the corporately provided VPN during work activities always. Remote management. Have your IT support telephone number and email address handy. IT support should provide remote support of telework devices. This means maintenance, patching, security updates, troubleshooting, particularly, and BYOD, set up a configuration for those shared devices. Remote access. Routinely confirm that you have a second VPN connection for working every week. Do you have emergency backup power, backup internet connections that you can use if your home network internet access goes down? Is there a coffee shop, restaurant, public library, or parking lot next to a cell phone tower? Make sure that you have access to these things. Make sure you can continue to work and be employed.
Treat your work environment like your work environment. You must follow the same standards at home as at the office. So ensure your work environment is security hardened. Apply settings for antivirus, firewall, and updates and patches. Use secure email for work accounts separate from your personal accounts, and make sure you have spam filters enabled and properly configured. Think before you click the link. And confirm the source of any USB devices and flashcards before you insert them to your computer and think of opening the contents. At home, like in the office, separate and segment your functions and your traffic. Can you have your work device on a different subnet than your home devices? At the office, there are established personnel and procedures for physical security. When teleworking, you must be aware of and control possible access to devices used for work. There is a higher rate of theft and burglary during disasters. So please use a timeout lock screen requiring a login. Do not leave devices unattended in any shared space, such as your living room. And store devices in a lockable location when they are not in use, such as at night or during extended errands. And are your files encrypted? At the office, there are also resources that are transparent to most users, infrastructure supporting that device use, that high-speed internet access, and the local environment networking, which now means your home broadband modem, maybe active or passive fiber to the home. You probably have a wireless router. You may decide to go to wired with a switch. There, you need to make sure you also have continuous electricity. Your battery only lasts so long, and you may not have Wi-Fi and internet without power. So do you have a surge protector? Do you have UPS? Do you have a generator? Do you have capacity to use a hotspot if that home internet goes down? And you may even need a physical firewall device. So companies should help employees set up their workspaces to provide some kind of privacy, headsets, and training. But you also need to help the work-home separation while working from home. You're always at work now. Employee well-being leads to well-performing employees. Leaders set the tone for their organization. If they lack emotional intelligence, it has far-reaching consequences: lower personal engagement and a high turnover rate. By communicating with empathy, you can better support your team. Strive to understand colleagues and their perspectives. This enables more effective communication and collaboration. Emotional intelligence is typically broken down into 4 core competencies: self-awareness, self-management, social awareness, and relationship management. Research shows that every unaddressed conflict can waste 8 hours of company time in gossip and other unproductive activities, as well as putting a drain on resources and morale. And a study by the Center for Creative Leadership found that managers who show more empathy toward their direct reports are viewed as better performers by their boss. The manager's boss notices.
Employees must have a business mindset for security and privacy to protect business integrity. It pays the bills, so protect it. Dedicated resources such as sole use during work periods in your work areas, work only. Company provided devices are for company work, not for family or communal use. Confidential resources. Protect documentation, prototypes, models, and sensitive intellectual property, etc. Secure and physically lock confidential resources, particularly paperwork that may reveal sensitive information that can harm the company. Social communications and workflows must adapt to the new environment, be it between the employee, employer, and it's formal, say with managerial, or informal between co-workers using chat, etc. This also includes your peers, employees, and your customers, and internal support and employee groups or teams. Cross-organizational means you may have to interact with many different people remotely. Interactions must be clear and deliberate, as people cannot rely on or subtly use those same type of verbal clues and mannerisms that they saw before in your expressions. Training and mentorship must be provided to help workforces adapt to the new environment. A way to emulate gatherings where people can brainstorm creatively without being constrained by formal meetings must also be found.
So business communication must be secured. Remember your basic security AAA procedures. Authenticate, authorize, whether it's by direct access control or more commonly role-based access control. And don't forget your audit and accounting for logging and transcripts. The confidentiality must also be preserved between parties. HR, when you're addressing customers, dealing with contracts, dealing with suppliers wherever they are in your supply chain. Official work discussion of products and projects, either between teams or between individual employees, and between management and their subordinate teams or individual employees. Slow down. Be mindful of possible miscues. Be respectful. Double check for errors and avoid mistakes in your emails. Do not reply all. And remember that opinions on chat, Teams, and Zoom must be carefully considered for what is in the text versus what's in your head. You cannot emote, and you cannot take back.
Einstein's 3 rules of work. Out of clutter, find simplicity. From discord, find harmony.
In the middle of difficulty lies opportunity.
Thank you for joining us for Telework Explosion 2020. I'm Valdez Ladd.
And I'm Kim Green. For your future reference, we have included some resources for secure communication. In secure chat, there's signal.org. They're open source and multi-platform. In secure email, use secure options which have end-to-end encryption, support multi-factor authentication, and have an encrypted mailbox. So we've seen tutanota.com is German, open source, and if you get a commercial account, you can have a shared calendar. There's also protonmail.com, which is Swiss, and therefore outside US and EU jurisdiction. Surveillance targets are notified and can appeal the request. They do not have a mailbox recovery key. Your mailbox is your mailbox. And they also offer VPN. And for secure meetings, there's jitsi.org, open source, and there's a web option so you don't have to install an additional app. The app, if you do install it, is multi-platform. It has video conference and chat.
Thank you for joining us for Telework Explosion 2020. Are there any questions? We can go more in depth, no problem. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Our attendees, let's clap in the chat to let our panelists know we appreciate them and their presentation. And if you have any questions, go ahead and place them in the Q&A section and go ahead and address those. I don't see any questions right now, but we'll give it a minute and see if we have any. All right, but while we wait for questions, again, thank you very much. That was very informative, and I know something that we will put to good use. Again, those of you that are in attendance, all of the, I know it's tough to choose which sessions to go to. There's so many good ones, and we will be sharing these sessions afterwards. But once again, we really appreciate you taking the time to enlighten us and prepare us to continue to work remotely. So I don't see any questions. So I think that might be it, but I know we have a 6 o'clock. We'll have a closing ceremony. Hopefully we get a little bit of break now where people can maybe grab a little something to eat, take a break. I know it's been a long day of great presentations such as the one that you just gave. So it looks like we'll just take a little break and get ready for the closing ceremony and maybe get some more prizes and wrap up. But once again, thank you both very much for your time and your great presentation. I really appreciate that. And we'll see you at the closing ceremony.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.